Hi guys, Cameron here, and welcome to another video. Recently, I have been doing a lot of videos on the Breaking of the Fellowship video, tournament, and this is just going to be another one in that kind of series. First time I've ever ran a tournament. You can go back and look at the other two videos that have previously come from this, and this one is just kind of showing you around the venue and kind of everything that was going on. Videos, photos of the venue. Pop on some coffee, get yourself that cup, and then start painting while this is on in the background. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. And here we have the ACVC hub in all its glories. There's enough space for at least 12 4x4s, which is exactly what you'll see here. This is all the boards that I made, painted and provided and whatnot. So there is 3 boards of Wargs in the night. Then we go over, after the first game, to 3 boards of Balin's Tomb, all played on a 2x2, which I made. And you can see some of these are in use and some of them aren't. We had 14 players playing against each other. We had space for 24. Here's Dwaradelf, or Escape from Dwaradelf. We had the capacity to have 24 players, which would have been 12 games being played at once. The last one here being Amon Hen. And what you would do is you would play both sides. You would play the good, and then you would play the evil, or vice versa, depending on exactly which one you started. And you'd play that against the same person, and then you would swap over for the second game, and then you would move around the room and you would play a different mission. We did have one person which played it in absolute perfect order, so they played Wargs in the night, and then they went over to Balin's Tomb, then to Dwaradelf, then to Amon Hen. And then we had one person that actually played it in complete reverse order, and that was obviously a nice thing as well for them. They just had that a little bit of, I'll say, continuity. But yes, we had 12 games, because we only had 14 players, we had 7 games going at once. We had the option of 12 games going, but that wasn't needed all the time, which luckily enough worked out very well. We had nobody play a game twice, we had nobody play against the same person twice, which obviously was exactly what we wanted, and that was kind of the actual idea of this. The plan would be to do something very similar again. There is a plan for more of this style of tournament coming, and the reason that we kind of did this was just to introduce people to narrative gaming. Now, you have people who go and play tournaments on I'll say weekly basis, but you don't have that many people, or certainly there's not that much of a crossover for people who play narrative games and then play tournaments. So there's a lot of people at this event had said that they'd never played a narrative game, or they hadn't played that many, one of which is kind of your standard one that you would play would be Balin's Tomb or Amon Hen, especially Balin's Tomb with the Wheel of Plastic terrain set that you can get from Games Workshop. Wargs in the Night, somebody had said that they played it, but having 18 Wargs and one Wild Warg Chieftain is not necessarily the standard. You can see there the Forge World resin Amon Hen seeing seat. It's absolutely bloody gorgeous. But yeah, Amon Hen is a common one for people to be able to play, because it's kind of just trees and a few stone statues and the like. But actually playing Escape from Dwaradelf, there wasn't anyone there at the tournament who had ever played that before, and that was exactly why I wanted to do this. Here you can see the individual painting competition entries, or some of them, from people. But Escape from Dwaradelf, it was a very cool and fun scenario. You can see just here it being played, and it was one of these things that I wanted to bring new and I'll say uncommon stuff to people who wouldn't normally get to play these things. And that was probably my mission for this. I enjoy going to competitive tournaments. They're always fun, and it means you're guaranteed games. But then myself and one of my team members, Matthew, we played through the whole of the Curse of the Necromancer campaign, and I mean, links I'll say in the video description or wherever. You can find the whole playlist on my channel. That's certainly easy enough to come across. But we played through that whole campaign and really, really enjoyed it. It was one of the things that I not necessarily never knew that I was going to enjoy, because I've always enjoyed the story aspect, and I always think, what would my captain do, or what is the reason that this would happen, that sort of thing, while playing. But in terms of guaranteeing games, it's going to be a competitive matched play event. So being able to provide all the evil models and then just telling everyone to grab a fellowship that they more than likely had. Everyone kind of has a fellowship kicking around. So telling them to bring that to the event and allowing everyone to use them, it meant that everyone was on the same level, everyone had the same abilities and all this sort of stuff. So it was really a good event and a nice balanced event, I would say. The only downside would have been the scoring. We had a conversation, a few of us, after, and the kind of big takeaway from this event was the scoring system. And going forward, I need to improve that for my next event, which is totally fine and totally acceptable. I completely agree with it as well. So having that feedback from everyone was obviously a real good thing and a real nice thing, and it just meant that I now know what I need to do to improve the next one. The kind of biggest thing, like I say, being scoring, but then there was a few other bits and bobs, just kind of timings and people knowing what their abilities were and that sort of stuff. So what I did was I'd printed out all the evil profiles as well as the scenarios. I put them on the tables next to where the scenarios were being played, and that was one of the things that I got positive feedback about. There was lots of people who praised that because they didn't necessarily know how the Wild Wargs worked, or they didn't know what Lurtz's abilities were and that sort of stuff. So with them just being there, it meant that everyone had that, I'll say, level playing field. You can see there, Sorcerer's Blast had clearly gone off, knocked everyone prone. Gandalf standing on top of a what's it called? A well. But yeah, overall, it was such a good event. Everyone was happy, everyone went away happy. And that was partly because of the environment and the atmosphere. And I'll say, speaking of the environment, we were obviously playing at the ACVC Hub in Glasgow, which is a veterans charity in Glasgow to support veterans with mental health through various, I'll say, creative and artistic means. So that was something that obviously kind of appealed to quite a few people, the artistic and even mental health. You can go and watch a video of me saying all the wonderful things about me struggling with my mental health if you would like. But the fact that we knew that we were supporting them, we managed to raise £700 by the end of the event for the hub, which meant that they can keep their lights on, they can keep providing loads of stuff for all the veterans that come along and use their facilities and the support that they get. There's that Forge World seeing seat again. It is gorgeous. It's also extremely heavy. But yeah, it's one of these things that it was a very nice thing, and all the support from, I'll say, the players as well as all the sponsors was obviously greatly appreciated. Here you can see the fellowship painting competition. You've got just there Darren's Gandalf blowing a bolt of smoke. It's incredible what he managed to do. But yes, the sponsors, there was a number of them. So Kelpie Games donated some prizes for the raffle. Proxy Wars, Hammerline Minis provided stuff for all the places that people could get. Then some of the mats are from Game Mat EU. The terrain was printed by Kelpie Games, completely free. There's just loads of things that went on, and I reached out to a load of different people, and lots didn't get back to me, but lots did, and they were all completely happy with supporting this event. And the fact that it was for charity, everyone was more than happy, and they just wanted to help and support me as much as they could. So honestly, I cannot complain about anything that was done, anything that was given. It was a great help in raising that money for the hub, and I would just like to say thank you to all the sponsors of this event. In terms of how the event ran on the day, though, it was very smooth, or days I should say, because it was over two. It was very smooth. Everyone was happy with what they were doing. Everyone understood the game. The fact that it was the previous, I'll say, system, so MESBG 1 rather than 2, meant that everyone knew the rules to, I'll say, a certain extent. Everyone was used to them, and it just meant that everything ran. Day one was a little hectic, trying to sort out things. There's a lot of things with like narrative play of, such as there's no breakpoint. That's just not something that happens in narrative gaming. There's just no breaking. So obviously that is a bit strange for some people, and they don't know exactly how that works, but it's just one of these things. And then learning how the different scenarios played, it was one of these things that obviously isn't a common thing, scenario play. So it was a learning curve on the Saturday, but then kind of by the end of Saturday, coming on Sunday, everyone understood what they were doing, how it's meant to work, and just were more than happy with playing the games. And at the end of it, one of the biggest I'll say positives was the fact that people hadn't played these scenarios before, hadn't played any scenarios before, so they were just happy with the fact that they'd done that. It was a different gaming style, different gaming system, and that was definitely a positive that came from everyone. So honestly, I think um, this format, this style, is something that is absolutely fantastic, and I do plan on taking it further forward with the Three Hunters and Thorns Company. So it's definitely something that I would like to do. Here, though, you can see some of the entries for the single painted miniature. This was the Saturday painting competition. You were allowed to enter any Middle-earth SBG model that you had painted, and this was just the one you were felt, I'll say, most proud of. Everyone was allowed to enter, and everyone got a secretive vote. There was a wee voting strip that you could rip off and write down there, and you popped it in a bag, and then we counted it up. I didn't vote in any of the competitions because I didn't think that was fair. Obviously, we had the single painted miniature competition on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday we had the fellowship. Here you can see the winning entry for the single painted miniature, and here you can see a couple of the fellowship ones. This one is actually my fellowship, just as an example, painted when I was about 12 years old. We then obviously come over to the presentation of all the prizes. This is Henry winning a Balrog for pushing the most amount of models off of Dwaradelf. During his games, Matthew had given a wee spot prize for that, and as you can tell with my amazing filming skills, I managed to cut our heads off during this. So obviously that YouTuber professional I am. We then come to the most sporting, I should say. This was Faramir being handed a flower as he rides out to Osgiliath. This was given to us by Hammerline Games, along with all the other prizes for this, and this was won by Donald. He got the most sporting votes. Everyone loved playing against him, so he was obviously extremely happy. And there we go, the photo getting taken. There are photos of the prizes being won, or the places I should say being won. And they are considerably better than my terrible propped up phone. We held a raffle, and actually there was 30 minutes of this clip alone as I was handing out all the prizes, but I thought I'd cut that down a little bit. We then obviously get to the painting competitions, and Gary won the best painted single miniature competition, so he won a Balrog. It was a tie between Gary and Henry, actually, and the members of the ACVC Hub then voted for Gary. But luckily enough, Henry still won a painting competition. He won the Best Painted Fellowship, which is just exactly what this one is. So here is Henry coming back up. And in this, there is a King Elisar Aragorn bust, printed, like I say, by Hammerline Minis for Henry to paint up. It's a gorgeous model, and honestly, I'm a little gutted for it. We then got to the actual places, or podium positions, I should say. I didn't want to do the wooden spoon first, because obviously everyone knows I love a good wooden spoon. So this one is for third place, and this went to another one of my teammates, Matthew. He managed to get third and won a Dane Ironfoot, which is an absolute Dane Ironfoot proxy, I should say. It's absolutely wonderful on the rocket sausage and on foot. And then came to second place, and these were kind of clear cut on who they were. And the position that they got, and this was David, who came second, so he was awfully happy. It was a wonderful photo, that, and he got 6 goat riders printed for him. First place went to, no surprise, he got a GBHL 80 dice, as well as a proxy of an Iron Hills Battle Company, including Dane Ironfoot. And that went to David Reid, who is the Scottish representative for the tournament organiser committee. So he was awfully happy that he'd managed to win that. And it's the first time that he's ever won a GBHL 80, if I remember correctly from what he was saying. Then lastly, we had a wooden spoon, which included a lovely wooden spoon. Honestly, it was gorgeous. Lovingly made and donated to us by the Glasgow Mech Shop on Instagram, and it also included I'll say a fiefdom's mooning the viewer, and that was part of the prize by Hammerline Games. So again, that was absolutely fantastic, and Andrew won that with no questions, and he thoroughly enjoyed it, and yeah, it was great. Here we go. So you've got David Reid here in the photos, and then we go to second place with Donald. Not Donald, sorry, David. I love that photo. You then get Matthew, obviously. I'm extremely happy with his third place, and then you get Andrew, who is actually extremely happy with his last place. You then get Donald, and he was the most sporting, along with Gary for his best painted single miniature, which is this Gandalf model, just here, like I say, voted for by everyone in the ACBC Hub. And then you get Henry with his best painted Fellowship and the most pushed off models in Escape from Dwar Delph. Wonderful. So there we go. You have now seen everything that happened in my tournament, the Quest of the Ring Bearer, not the Quest of the Ring Bearer, the Breaking of the Fellowship. I'm absolutely knackered from it, and hopefully you have enjoyed the videos that have come out of that. £700 raised for the ACVC Hub. Really cannot complain about that. Honestly, it is absolutely fantastic that we've managed to raise that much. Thank you to everyone who's donated, everyone who took part and everything. There is going to be a new one coming up. We are calling it the Three Hunters. You need Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. And we will be playing through 3 scenarios in one day. So 6 games in one day of the Three Hunters. So you'll need those 3 models, and that's it. But there is more to come on that. Bear with me. Need to talk to the GBHL to start off with, and then also get everything sorted out. But until then, thank you very much for watching. I have dropped 2 shorts today,
on the new Hera model and the new Snow Troll model. So please go check them out. I appreciate it. I managed to get them early, so it's all good. But yeah, if you don't mind, I will sign off. Please use the affiliate links and everything down below. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Keep an ear out for more Paints on an X Up tournaments coming to an area near you, wherever we decide to host the next one. And we'll see what charity we're supporting next time. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and bye-bye.